What's up, Pete?
Hey mate, how you going?
I'm good.
Oh, that was a bit stressful. New system. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Like right at the last minute, it just sort of lost the link. But we're back on board. So
Yeah,
all good, all good. How's things? How's things your end, Jay? What's been happening?
it's been great. I've just been working on. We had like some time off from Epic this week because it was Thanksgiving in America. So I'm trying to catch up on stuff, but I'm working on a game jam because we're doing an internal game jam. So I'm doing all the art side of it. I'm kind of fun. It's kind of excited. Oh, Bjorn's on. What's up, Bjorn?
Yeah, man. So we just me and Justin had a look through the sort of the entries for this week's weekly drills, and there was some good stuff in there. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's something with the subject matter of isometric. I feel there's so much stuff you can do with it that you get caught up in like all the details and trying to have a story for it. It's different than just doing a prop because some people are building multiple props and figuring out the set. So it's one of those things where I'm like, this should have been like a 2-week drill, but it was fun to see what people cranked out.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, to be honest, I thought it was, it's a pretty hard like exercise, because there's a lot of little assets, and we're going to talk about the smart way of actually reusing assets for this week. I think there was a couple of entries that were real standouts, and when you particularly if you're working in the industry as well, you have to be clever at times, and there'll be times where you do reuse assets, and it's not about remodeling or retexturing or from scratch for everything. Even working on digital doubles, there is generic models that people will start with rather than having to sculpt up assets right from the start. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to just share my screen and then we can have a look at some of these entries. So I'm just going to throw this onto this application here. Cool. And can you see that now? What can you see, Jay?
I can see a little thing in the corner. So I think you have to make it full screen.
Okay, cool.
What's
like
up,
that.
Yeah,
like
yeah, there you go.
All these new fancy toys. It's cool.
We got Garage Man, Vicky,
man,
Chung, and Bjorn. What's up?
Awesome.
Fun to do. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get like more and more, and then Twitch is going to be like, whoa, here's $12,000 a day. No.
Garage Man. I think he's got an entry on this week, hasn't he? Cool. So let's have a look. So this, like I said, this week's theme was isometric rooms. And we're going to have a look at just what some of those entries look like. So we've got a few here. There was a few come through on Discord at the last minute, so I've actually added them as well. So I'm just going to go across the tab, Jay, and then we can talk about each one. Obviously, We'll do kind of what we did last week. We'll kind of make a decision on which one we think is the winner for the week, and we'll announce that at the end. And then we'll also, I think that's already been announced, what next week's weekly drill is.
Yeah, the underwater creatures.
We can have a look at that as well. So this one, Jay, this is from Guardia, I think is the pronunciation of the name is. This is the user. But if we have a look at this one, we've got like a sort of an American type diner setup. I thought it was pretty cool, actually. I actually really enjoyed the color palette, and the lighting was really cool. And the actual sort of composite I thought was really nice. It was just really nicely laid out, and it had a lot of good things going on for it. If we have a look at the model down below, just a bit of a scrub through, a good presentation, just showing us exactly what the geometry looks like, the base geometry looks like, and what was your views, Jay?
I mean, I liked it. I actually went on their profile and saw they had like some similar style with their modeling. So it's cool that they're actually figuring out what their style is going to be. And I think that's something else that, all the artists should think about when they're working on these drills is you still need to figure out your style, even though even though you're going to be applying to specific studios. Figure out what you have fun with. So it's clear that this person was having fun with what they're working on, just because they went for a little more stylized, a little more cartoony with the bright colors too, which I like. Obviously, you could have spent even more time doing the details, but for what it is, I like it. I mean, it when I'm looking at the balance of like the details, it feels good, flows well. I like the pops of red, the reddish pink. I like the diner sign. I like that there's like this aqua green that's kind of offsetting the reddish, pinkish, reddish thing. So color-wise, I like it. Obviously, there's a lot of cool details in there too. It just,
Yeah.
I'd like to see even more, but that's just me because I like where it's going and I want to see more of like little details. But I like it. There's no complaints on this one.
Yeah, no, I thought, I just like the touches with the food. I thought that was really cool. The little burger, like the thing with these sort of isometric rooms is that sometimes there's so much detail in there that it can get easily lost. But it's finding that balance of adding enough assets to make it look interesting without looking too simplistic, but also not overdoing it. And I think, like you said, there was a great play on color. I think compositionally it was strong, color-wise it was strong. And there was just a good balance of 3D stuff.
Yeah. If I was ever going to add anything to this specific scene, I would have added like a regular rug carpet in front of the door just to break up that checkered floor, and then a lip on the counter to make it feel like there's actually a countertop on where they're sitting by the. But that's just it. Well, other than that, it's looking good.
Yep. Excellent. So well done to Guardia. Next one we're going to look at is the isometric Joker scene.
Cool, and that one is done by.
That was
Sam.
done.
Sam did too.
Yep, Sam did this one.
Sam, this is a departure from your other styles. It's interesting to see you kind of going this way. Usually, he's got more like bright colors and like it's kind of like got with like the ink shader with outlines. So it's just cool to see him trying new styles. Yeah,
I mean, it's to me it feels. I'm not too sure if the scale is just because the curtains are so big, but it's there's a lot of sort of sparse space there, and again that kind of comes back down to just populating the scene with enough stuff, and I think it feels like there could have been more time spent on this, to be honest. I didn't even actually notice until then that sort of curtain differentiation between the back curtain there. Obviously that comes down, and I think the cameras could have been slightly different rather than just this sort of the static sort of gray. I think there's still a bit of work to be done on this, but well done, Sam, for getting your entry in.
Well, I mean, same thing. It's like it's awesome that you could tell he's having fun with both of these because he wanted to pitch out two ideas. I would say I agree with you. Like if you took the set and just scaled it up and made the whole thing focus on the actual set and maybe like one of the cameras, then you could have gotten some cool details with the actual desk and chairs and maybe like one of those plant trees, and like push some things further. You still can. Again, you still could take this and push it further on your own time, because I feel like this idea of having this as an isometric scene is a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good drill actually, because it really does make you think about that compositing, the lighting, the texture. It's to me a lot of the times it's the scale, right? It's so easy to have things out of scale that it's very, very obvious. So it really makes you observe the scene that you've got in front of you. So well done, Sam. Let's jump to the next one, and we've got our Rockstar Weekly Drills competitor, Tom, and great to see you posted some of the rookies merch, mate. It was just an appreciation of your efforts into submitting to the drills, and it's not a given thing, but people that really do take the time and put some effort in, they will be rewarded. So that's awesome. So I think this was a really great example. I liked the compositing. Again, it was busy enough but not too crazy busy. He left, some nice space there to lead the eye into and just, have a good focal point. There's lots going on here when you actually zoom in. Like there's a lot of, rookies merch there, which he got an extra 5 points for that. But I think Jay, you touched on it earlier before we jumped online, was just the reuse of assets. Do you want to just expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I noticed is that I noticed the shoes and the guitar, and I'm sure there might be other things, and it's smart, like reuse assets, and that kind of goes for everyone. What Alan was saying, like many times, sometimes students or like people who are creating the portfolios will try to make everything constantly from scratch. But if you're happy with an asset and you want to put it in a scene that you're working, hell yeah. I think it's good that you can even, I didn't notice this till I started looking, and this is kind of why I like this one, is because I keep looking at it and seeing new things like, oh, cool, I didn't realize there's a stand-up mirror that's reflecting the shoes over by the desk. And I'm like, oh, cool. And there's like the laptop, there's little sticky notes, just the little details. And you can make a scene feel like it has a lot of stuff going on in it with not a ton of content. And that's really what you want to be able to have. And that's what this has, because it's making me look at it twice to think about who lives here, why is the room set up this way, or what are they into? It's good immersion. So no, I like it. I think it's done really well.
And the other thing that Tom does really strongly is his presentation. Like he's the master of presenting, his weekly drills. It's really nice to see how the lighting's been done. He's highlighting the geometry with this little sort of image, and then he's doing a really nice overlay, which kind of combines all those features that, from basic all the way through to the dish, adding in of the lights and showing what each one is doing, to the texturing, and then to the final image. It's a really nice way of presenting your work. So people that are thinking about doing weekly drills, maybe just have a look at some of Tom's entries. He does a really great job with that. A little bit of a description as well. It's always nice to add something in there. I reused the Vans I created in the 9th drill. There you go. And the sunglasses from the twin. So you can see all the things that he's reused. So that's a whole idea of the weekly drills, is to try and build up, assets and props that you can potentially use for your portfolio. Well done, Tom. Awesome. Let's jump on to the next one. We've got, and this is Trash Art. Trash Art his name's John, and he's done a few too as well. So let's have a look. So we've got, I'll let you talk about this one first, Jay.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. I mean, off the bat, I'm a fan of Tron, so I picked up on the old arcade vibe, and I like, the one thing I kind of like about this one is that, again, there's a great explanation of what's going on. It's also that you're trying to use this as well for the Unreal Fall Learning Challenge, which is great. I just saw that, so it's two birds, one stone. I like that you're actually using the updates on it. Again, you guys don't have to always have everything be 100% amazing. I like that when you're showing us constant progress, so it's like getting a little peek inside of your work process and like your problem solving skills. So beyond that, it's just like you putting it inside of Unreal, like the layout and just everything you're doing. I like, again, it's one of those things just like Tom's, where I'm looking more at it to try to figure out what is that, what is here, what are you trying to make, and then the little secret things like the rookies thing is fun. And then the one thing I know is different again, when we watch the video, is on the rookies arcade, there's actually the challenge numbers on there, which I thought was a clever attention to detail.
Yeah, bang on. I think one thing that I sort of picked up when I watched the video was just, and it was something I referred to before, was just the scale of the textures actually in the scene. Some of them looked really, really big in comparison to the scale of the actual arcade machines. So again, it's just making sure that you've got the scale correct. But overall, yeah, I mean, it was a kind of nice mood lighting. It really did, feel, have a nice feel to it, with that grunge and all the graffiti and so forth going on with it. And to add that extra level of sort of video in there was really cool. Not a necessity, but it was nice just to see some other different format in there as well.
Yeah, so, yeah. The only thing I would say, I would do, is that the one thing about grunge is you got to give your eye a place to rest. So the floor should be broken up just a little bit more, and then the colors of the arcades, just make them so it's not so many colors. maybe less is more, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Cool, man. And then we've got GarageMan, who was on the chat earlier on. I think he had to bounce, so I have to go and catch up. Thanks for providing this review. So GarageMan, or AKA Bailey, how you going, mate? Great job in getting your submission in this week. And we've got a bit of a classroom environment here. Again, I don't know, the scale feels a little bit sort of just not quite bang on, just with the size of the room and everything else going on. I don't even that door kind of like when you look at that shape of the door, does it feel? It doesn't actually even feel like it fits into that space, but that could be just an illusion, perspective wise. But yeah, fairly basic in terms of the texturing. Obviously, some of these challenges aren't always about the texturing, but it would have been nice to add some additional sort of textures, maybe even having some of these flags or whatever, having some decals on there, maybe having some writing on the board. Just again, it doesn't have to be too busy, but it would have been nice to have additional touches. And you've got all this sort of detail that's on the bench down here, but really hard to sort of see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's I actually don't mind the flat colors if it was taken through the whole thing. So maybe if you put like floor trim, ceiling trim, broke up the floor just a little bit. But Ellen's right. The scale feels weird. It's almost like the whiteboard looks cool. I feel like there's like if you would have had less desks. I see what you're trying to do because you want to have everything in there. But it's almost like drop the ceiling down, or if you're working within that space, just have a few desks and then one main desk and the door and the window, and you could have had some extra room for like a bookcase or even like a half painted wall to kind of introduce that blue color or whatever complementary color is to the blue. Like the school, maybe their little color palette is like blue and yellow, so you're introducing some of that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like if you did that, I wouldn't have mind the flat colors, to be honest with you. It needs to, like, it's like there's a lot of detail on the desks and chairs, and even on the board, but the walls and floor feel kind of bland.
Yeah, and I think what's really jarring for me is these black tabletops. It's just all my eye looks at is that, right? Yeah. You're right. If we'd kind of kept within that sort of, pastel-y palette, with the nice warm colors, it could have been, you had, like you said, have a bit of a school theme going through. But yeah, good effort. And a shout out to Drowning Rhinos, who didn't know anything about weekly drills and is keen to jump on board. That's awesome. Look forward to seeing your entry next week.
Yeah, cool.
It's a pretty cool theme next week too, actually.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that was GarageMan. Bailey, thanks, man. Next one is Apocalypse Bedroom. Now, yeah, this was, I actually really liked the theme of it. I thought it was pretty cool. You can see that you've got the old Substance dynamic brushes running over the sort of the geometry there and the materials being used. I think, it does feel a little bit sort of just really, let's just, brush over it and kind of add some detail. Again, lighting wise, a little bit of nice lighting coming in, falling on that bedspread there. To me, I don't know. I mean, maybe the walls probably wouldn't be so wide. I don't know. It kind of feels like it's almost too, you've got the grunge and the dirt and the leaves, but it's very much just sprayed on. You know what I mean? Like on the front surface here, but there's nothing in between, and there's just areas. Why is there no vines on the sort of the floor down the base? Got it on the sort of the side wall there, but none coming onto the floor. It just feels a little bit sort of fragmented. I like the idea. I think the graffiti in that's cool. It just would have been cool, nice to see some continuity with the vines on the different surfaces, and stuff like that. Jay, what are your thoughts, mate?
I mean, when I first saw this, like initially, I thought it was more pixely arted, and when I look at it, you can see there's a lot of detail. But I feel like if you took this one and kind of leaned into having it be lower resolution, more like a PlayStation 1 type game, more pixely, and less details in some of the geometry, but really kind of owning that pixel art. And then like I would take the lighting and have it be like drop the ambient occlusion of whatever it is on there, like the skylight or whatever that is. so it is darker, so we can actually see the light pouring through that window, so you can feel more of like depth in here. And then kind of lean into that pixel thing and like ask yourself why there are leaves in certain areas. Like I think it, well, like when I'm looking at this, if I squint my eyes, it could be really cool pixel art, like our lo-fi art. It just, I like the subject matter. I like the actual layout of it. I just feel like I can see like a depth of feel in it.
Yeah, yeah.
It just needs like to kind of pick a lane in terms of its style, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's gone into all this sort of detail with the modeling of the floorboards. Then I would have probably had some that were broken up, and just instead of missing, and just kind of like, if you're going to go down that sort of road of grunge and destruction and stuff like that, even little things like the box, you got the same box there, maybe just turn it on a different angle or turn it over or something, just so that it's not like, oh, let's just duplicate and move it out. You know what I mean? There just needs to be a little bit more thought process in the way that, props and assets are added to a scene. Some stretching and stuff going on in the textures. I probably would have used those vines to cover those sort of things up, right? So,
but even with the lighting probably would have covered all that stuff. It was just a little more dramatic and darker.
Yeah, exactly. But good effort, Ben, for getting your weekly. Like you got a week. It's not a lot of time, and you probably, realistically, there's probably only a few hours in that week that you get to hang out and do some stuff like this. Next one is Michelina, I think it is, and she's entered a couple of times now as well. I really like this. I just loved. I think it goes back to something about a color palette and having that real solid theme and sticking to it. Just even the detail of the carpet on the floor, got that, just the sort of the fabric feel there. I really enjoyed that. I think, just the poster, the sticky tape, just little bits of subtle detail that, again, wasn't crazy busy, but it was just a really nice touch. And, even the stairs going down, just having an exit that actually takes you somewhere else outside of this world, I thought was really clever. Lighting wise, some really nice shadows happening there. Overall, I thought it was a really well executed little scene.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like I would say it's to break the 90 degrees and everything, because everything looks like it's too perfect. Like offset a chair just a little bit, so it's not completely 90 like the desk. But other than that, yeah, I like the colors. I like the details. It's got playful palette. Especially you working from that original image that you provided. It looks great.
Yeah, when you're kind of matching that image reference, it's really, really good. So well done. Excellent. I love it. Cool. And then we're going to jump to, which one are we up to? Oh yeah, this one here. This was kind of a late one that I didn't actually even see, Jay. You see this one?
Yeah, I just saw it right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots going on in here. I actually thought this was, pretty well done, to be honest. You've got a lot of, little nice, assets and props down here. What were your thoughts on it, Jay?
My biggest thing is I think it could have been way more successful if it had a better lighting pass on it and really embraced figuring out its colors as well, because it's got purple up there, but it's got blue lighting, and I see white, and I see gray, and I see red, and I see aqua. You need to kind of find your colors, and I think once you do that, it's gonna really turn into something great. But I like how you have everything on one texture map as well. It looks like as well. So pick a color palette. Like if you had this be just like the red or the purple or the blue, and had it be a little more dramatic, where there's pockets of it doesn't don't go for pure black for the shadows, but don't be afraid of having some dramatic lighting, or what I mean. It feels a little flat to me. The modeling looks great, but the lighting feels a little flat.
Yep. No, I'd have to agree with that. And yeah, it's a good point. Like even when you're creating textures, I mean, it's when you're if you're going for blacks or whites, texture should never be pure black or pure white. It's just you just don't. That's a no in the industry, right? So you're either kind of just inside, or it should never be pure black or pure white. So, but I mean, excellent job on the details. I think you would have killed it if the lighting had. You're right, the lighting just lets it down a little bit. But good job on getting the submission in.
Yeah, so just remember, so if everything's too white, it's going to reflect all the light, and if it's too black, it's going to absorb it.
Yeah. What else do we have left, Jet? We had this last one here, which was the sort of the pixel one, right?
Yeah, that's round 2 for.
This
Sam.
is Sam. Yeah, Sam did a sort of a pixel art one. It feels, in some ways, it feels a little bit incomplete to me. I'm not too sure whether, I don't know, maybe it is finished actually. I mean, it's a different style, totally different style. I just, what did I think about this? I mean, my views are, it's probably, probably missing some details, in texture wise or color wise, just on some of these base areas here. It feels all a bit too gray. You know what I mean? I know it is a prison, and it's probably, I don't know. What's your thoughts, Jay?
Same. I mean, like, I like that you're always pushing that style. Like, this is more like, this fits more into like the style of work you've been doing in the past, and it's fun to see, but it's almost like I wanted you to have more time working on this. And like Alan said, like, I think it's purpose and color palettes and lighting. If you have purpose, that means we'll be able to see like maybe like even a pillar or something kind of supporting the weight of like the ceiling that we don't see. I like that you're doing sketches and kind of figuring things out, which is fun. But throwing in like a color palette for what it is, maybe just breaking up the ground just a little bit. I know you have the yellow lights in there, but it needs more dramatic lighting, in my opinion, and it needs kind of like something to break up the floor. Like, it could just be like a little trim that wraps around, or even the floors where the actual cells are a different color than the main floor. Just some other things to kind of break it up. But I think it's fun to look at, like all the art style, like you do, like the outline stuff. Like, if you look at his profile, he's got a lot of stuff before.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting to see it. It's like, I mean, I think that's another thing about what we talked about the diner, like finding out what your style is and kind of leaning into it.
Yeah, nice one. Oh yeah, so he had that one as well. Yeah, the Joker scene. Oh, cool, nice one, Sam. Well, yeah, great job in getting your entry in this week. So down to the nuts and bolts here, Jay. So what's your favorite? What's your winner in your top 3 there? What order would you have that in? Obviously, we've got the classroom and also the Michelina's entry as well.
I like what Tom did. So I'm gonna say Tom in the top 3. I like the diner. I think the diner is in the top 3.
Yeah.
I am torn between the arcade and the Pokemon room and the sci-fi room. Sci-fi room, I really like what it did in terms of the modeling and the actual style of it. There is a nice little breakdown, like you shared us your maps, you shared your rough, you shared like your process in terms of your wireframe, so it is really well done. But the lighting is the only thing I think that has the marks against that one. And then the isometric room looks great. I mean, you're working right from the reference, and it's nice to see the breakdown of it. I don't see too many textures on here, but I feel like that's just, you don't need it for the style. I would almost argue that the Pokemon carpet on the bottom doesn't even need the carpet texture if you're keeping everything flat. And the Rookies arcade one, I like it. There's a lot of cool details going on in it. But I feel like sometimes it gets a little bit too noisy. Like the ground is broken up. It's just, it looks like the tile texture on the floor and the wall. The wall and floor need to be kind of worked on. Everything else is looking good, but the wall and the floor need to kind of get worked on.
Yep.
So I guess out of those ones, I would say the one I'm still kind of leaning towards for my third I would say still the arcade, just because, I like the amount of work and detail. I like the fact that there's an update process. You're using Unreal, you're making it interactive. There's a lot of screens. There's a lot of content going with that stuff.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. I mean, I think, Tom, again, presentation cuts it for me. Like, he's done an amazing job at presenting, reuse of assets, big tech, awesome job. The diner, love the style, good lighting, attention to detail. Again, was really, really nicely presented. It could have done with a little bit more just in presentations and a few more comments. I think that was probably the only thing that let it down, but it was, overall, did a really nice job. For me, I'm sort of torn between this guy and this one here. I think, you're right. The more I look at this, I just feel like, it is a bit too much in terms of just grunge and noise, and it's just almost a little bit overkill. But that's, that is the style. And I think, you're right. The lighting could have been just a little bit more dramatic, maybe some God rays coming in, or some, that dust, sort of like just a little bit of volumetric stuff, which, just adds to the ambience. So for me, I would probably, I'm sort of swayed to go Tom, and Guardia, and then, maybe this guy. Yeah. I don't know, Joe. It's your call, man. It's your call. This is your weekly drills. It's up to you. This is your call.
I'm gonna stick with the arcade, and I'm gonna say that, like, the isometric room and the sci-fi one are great, but I feel like both of them, the lighting is what's killing both of them. Isometric room, even on the one, like, if it just had a little bit, they feel a little flatter, even though the modeling and the content looks great. Fix the lighting, and you got a really great piece in your hand.
Yep. Okay, cool, man. Like it. Alrighty. So I think we've got our winners for this week. And just to quickly wrap this up for this week, we've got next week's weekly drills, which is underwater creatures. And it looks like it's going to be fun as well. So again, think about what we've talked about this week in terms of like reusing assets, I think the trick to it is really to kind of just jump on it early, try and, just have a look through what you've got, what you can reuse. And then obviously just, looking at reference and quickly just trying to identify what it is you want to do, and not spend too much time on trying to come up with a decision. You know what I mean? But awesome. Great job, everybody. Jay, did you want to have some parting words?
Yeah, just have fun with these drills too. Like, inject your style and actual your personality. So if you have a sense of humor, make it funny. Or I don't know. They're supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, everybody, we're gonna leave it there. So again, we'll see you next week. We're gonna get better at doing this. And thanks very much, and I hope you enjoyed the feedback. Cheers, Jay. See you next week, buddy.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.